Okay, welcome to Work Yourself Out of a Job. Today we're going to talk to you about raising a child and working yourself out of a job. So you have to really think about your child as an adult. And for me to get into that frame of mind with my children, I have 2 children. Welcome, sign in, grab a handout. I took this when my son was 3, and he's 11 now. And then I have a daughter who is 14, just turned 14. So I took a little picture of his 3-year-old face, and I put it on this businessman somewhere in Europe, I think, yes, looks like old buildings, with his computer laptop and his phone that's already pretty obsolete, but you know, he'll probably be in a flying car or something. But I did that to keep reminding myself that I'm raising an adult. And though he's 3, I've got to do everything I can right now to prepare him for this guy. So I want you to think of the big picture. Because as parents, you get very, very caught up in moment to moment. You know, you're so busy, you've got so much going on, and you're just surviving. You know, you're all caught up and you're thinking about today, they can't do it today, my life is over. Just keep bringing yourself out of it. And we're going to talk a lot today about conscious parenting, about being in the moment and teaching in the moment and really grasping the moment, because nowadays it's super hard to do. We've got so many distractions, and the worst distraction of all is the cell phone, because the cell phone is way more than just a phone. It's not for calling people. It's for people from all over the planet to connect with you and distract you. So when you're working on these skills and when you're visualizing your child's an adult, you've got to be in the moment, and you've got to put that away, and you've got to work at it, because you want to put that time in now so that your child isn't struggling in the future. Okay, so do it now. Your time is so minimal right now with your child, especially for those of you that have kids in preschool. You feel like it's, you know, a life sentence, it's forever, but it's not. It's just a quick blip. I tell that to my daughter. I say that all the time to her. What you're dealing with right now in middle school is just a little blip, and you won't even think about it in 10 years. Maybe you will, but very little. It's just such a tiny moment. It seems like the end of the world right now. So it seems like you've got so far to go, but it's just a boop. And one way to show you that is with this wonderful roll of toilet paper. So I'm going to show you, think about how many squares are in a roll of toilet paper, and you're going to visualize those squares as the years of your child's life, okay? So are you ready? Whoa, it's not supposed to stop. Okay, so here's the roll, and you're just going to keep rolling, because you've got, you know, you're going to need 100 squares. Think about that. So let's say your child is in your house. We're going to think positive till 18, we'll say 1820, because there's some studies that are showing actually that if they do come back and live with you, that it's a good thing, because they're smart about not, you know, about saving money, and then they can handle things better later on. So we're going to go about 20 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. And now that's going to keep going on and on and on. So think about that. That's all you got, people. That's all you have to teach these skills. That's not a lot. It's not very much at all compared to that whole roll. Okay, so you've got to get busy right here. This is what you have. So I'm going to keep using this as a visual to show you how much time you have.
Stop, Rohan. Rohan, stop.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, getting started with that in mind, conscious parenting, you have to really think about the skills. Now, how many of you filled out that skills inventory and you said, oh, my child can do all of this? Anybody? Okay. How many of you have a child between the ages of 3 and 5? Okay, that list is in a great book that somebody checked out and never returned, so we have to replace it, I just realized. But those are the skills that a 3 to 5-year-old should be doing. Wow. Okay. So keep that list and think about that. I know. Are you like, no, that's it. Yep. Actually, yes. So I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, I have so much to teach and I have so little time, I'm never going to get this done. Oh no. Because if you do that, you're going to overwhelm yourself and you're not going to get anywhere. So we're going to show you how to consciously break things down, working in the moment, taking baby steps, and celebrating. Because this should be fun. These are the times when you're going to bond with your child. When you're teaching them these things, you better do it having fun. And if it's not your time to have fun, if you're in a bad mood or you didn't sleep the night before, then take a day off. Don't bother, because you're not doing anybody any good. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that too, because we all have seasons where we're good teachers with our children, and our kids have seasons where they're good learners. So you have to be very conscious and aware of that. So for promoting independence, because we want our kids to be independent. You want them to be for so many reasons. You want them to be independent so that your job is easier. You have time on your hands to sit on the couch and eat bonbons. And so that they can function in the world, so they can function at school, so they can function in other people's homes, because they're not going to be in your home forever. And I mean, the reasons go on and on and on. So you've got to focus that you have to have your child be as independent now. And I'm so glad that I'm reaching you guys at a really early age, because there's parents that we work with that have middle schoolers and high schoolers. And it's like, oh, I didn't teach all that then, and now they're about to leave school and they can't get into a group home, and they're not going to be able to function on their own, and whatever level they're at. I've got a lot to do, but by then it's a lot more difficult to teach it then. So make sure you're focusing on these things now. Keep that picture of your child, no matter what age, as an adult in your head. Okay? So I gave you that skills inventory so you could kind of start to think about making a plan. And you really do need to make a plan. I mean, there's so many studies that show that somebody that's goal-oriented, you're going to be a lot more successful. And you're also teaching your children to be goal-oriented. You've got to have an end in mind, okay? So make a list. Take that skills inventory. Pick one thing off of it. Everybody circle one thing off of it that your child does not know how to do and that you would like to teach them to do, and that you would like them to be independent in. Okay, somebody who's brave enough, tell me what your one thing is that you picked. Go ahead.
Make the bed.
Make the bed, awesome. Okay, so that's your goal, make the bed. And you're just gonna focus on that here and there for about a month, okay? Your child is gonna learn to make the bed. Do you make your bed?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's the first step. Yes, I have a husband who works midnights, so he sleeps during the day and I sleep at night, so that was the most awesome excuse for me to not make my bed. Is it hard to get my kids to follow through on something that I don't do? Yes, makes it a lot harder. So make sure you're doing it. Great, okay, and then do they have one of those beds that's really difficult to make? Do they have like a bunk bed or a corner bed that's hard?
Corner bed, yeah.
So think about that first. So what I'm doing here is I'm helping you make a plan. So you're going to say, is that bed an easy bed to make? Are they going to get frustrated? Do I get frustrated making that bed? So how can I make it easier? Do I need to do it like the Europeans, where there's no top sheet, it's just a duvet cover that you quick ruffle, puff up, and then do the pillow? So my kid can feel so happy and successful that they made that bed. And it looks great, and mommy's so proud. Think about how to make it successful for your child so they are proud. Because if you're going in there, how many of you tell your kids more everything that they're doing wrong rather than what they're doing right and they're great at? We all do it. We all do it because we think that we're trying to shape our children and fix them, fix those things that they're doing wrong. But actually, we're going to be more successful if we make sure that we're telling them when they're being successful and we're setting them up for success. You want to set them up so they feel really proud and excited about making their bed. and you want to make sure you're focusing on the positive things too. So you're going to make a plan. How can I make it successful for my child? I mean, we're going to go through more of the specific strategies, but if you're expecting your child to maybe dust, how can you make it? Are there items that you're going to use to dust that's fun and easy for them? Like these, they have products for everything, so these are really fun. Can my child reach it whenever he wants if he's in the mood to dust? Can he put it, does he have the mobile ability to put it on his hand, or do I need to think of a different thing that he's going to use to dust? Maybe just a sock that has like googly eyeballs on it that's fun for him. How, you know, what products, what things are we using to accomplish this task? And then you have to teach it. And this is where parents, like, you can't just say, go dust the living room or dust the house. You think it's going to happen? No, you have to actually put the phone away and put a half hour, tell Alexa to set a timer for a half hour and spend that spend that time bonding with your child, teaching them step by step how to do it. And you gotta be in a good mood, like I said. You know, if you're teaching your child to clean the toilet, and you hate cleaning the toilet, then find a place within yourself where you love the toilet. Oh my gosh, this is the best toilet ever. You know, teach them when you're in a good mood and you're excited about it and you've got them invested and excited. And you know what? How many kids would just be so excited about you completely focusing on them? Because we don't do that much anymore. Think about when you were a child. I'm not going to say ages or anything, but when I was a child, I did not have a phone or an iPad or anything like that. I used to sit in the kitchen on this little stool. My mom still has the stool, and it had these ridges on it. I can remember exactly how they felt, and I spent hours and hours bored out of my mind sitting on that stool watching my mom, watching her. How many of you have kids that sit there for hours watching you? Nobody anymore. These kids are not learning from us. They're not learning anything from us. They're learning how to shoot people and, you know, when they're older, hopefully not little ones, but they're learning, yes, they're learning their colors, they're learning things on those fun little games they're playing on their devices, but they're missing out on so much, all those teachable moments. Even when my son was little, they didn't have iPads and things like that, so he was like a salad spinner pro. The salad spinner was his favorite toy. He would just sit there and spin that salad. Let me tell you, when we break that out, he's my salad spinner. He's gonna dry that salad like crazy. So kids aren't doing those things. They're not playing with those things in the kitchen. They're not getting that individual time with you where you're totally conscious in the moment, focusing on them. So really think about that. You might want to think about taking that stuff away when you're doing things, involving them with you when you're cleaning, when you're doing stuff in the kitchen. And in our society that we're in here in North Texas, most people have people doing their lawns or cleaning their homes. So kids are not learning those skills. They're not learning how to do that. So when they graduate, if they're going to go to college and they graduate college and they're going to go, woohoo, I'm getting an apartment, I'm on my own. Are they gonna know how to clean that apartment? No. Are they gonna have the money to pay somebody to clean themselves? No, probably not. Are they gonna have money to hire somebody to do anything for them? Fix their car? Mow their lawn? Think about that. Are you setting yourself up, your child up, to just have no skills? We do this all the time in this society, so think about that. You've got to teach your kids the skills. If they leave and they don't have any skills, but they are so stinking smart and they know all about this one thing and they're gonna get this great job in this, but they don't know how to change a tire or mow a lawn or dust, you know, the floorboards or anything, like clean a mirror, then something huge has been lost. So really think about what your kids are watching, what you're modeling for them, what you're teaching, and how you're teaching and going through it. So that was a lot to say about that one thing of teaching the skills needed. Also, you have to closely monitor and reinforce, and this is where a lot of parents have a tough time too. because we're busy, we're distracted. We might tell them to do that. Hopefully we're telling them, oh, you did great, even though they left like a big mess while they did it. You know, you gotta just, okay, I'll just pick that up later because I have to reinforce that they did it, yay! But you have to pay attention to the good stuff, and you have to monitor and keep up with it. Consistency is so difficult in our society because we're like, oh, no, we have to go to gymnastics. Or I just started this. We're doing so much outside of our homes that we don't have the time to have silence and focus and consistency within our homes because we're so busy with doing everything, having everybody else teach this and that, and doing everything outside of our homes. So invaluable, those things that we've just got to think about teaching our kids those simple skills at home, and we have to teach it. I teach a potty talk class too. I'm gonna get gross, but we have issues within the schools where middle school, high school students don't know how to wipe themselves. These are skills. You don't want to have your child grow up and not know how to wipe themselves. You don't want somebody else to have to help them or teach them to wipe themselves. Like, we're talking basic skills here. Teach it. Teach everything you can while you have that time. Make sure nobody else is having to do it or that they're going to be embarrassed because they don't know how to do stuff. Give them that confidence. Okay, that was one slide. Okay, so this is my son, and talking about like the duvet cover, making sure it's simple and easy for them to do it. My son is still a voracious eater, constantly wanting to eat. So I'm like, I'm not gonna just spend my whole life feeding you, so I'm gonna have to teach you to feed yourself. So at a very young age, I taught him how to get his own bowl of cereal because he was that kid and it's so funny he doesn't do it now that he's 11. He had to have something every single night, and he needed to have that big bowl of cereal every single night before bed. So I put the bowls and the dishes, to this day, there's a whole set of bowls, dishes, plates, plates, cups, everything really low in this low cabinet. I mean, it's not great for my back as I get older because I always have to go down there, but it's accessible to them still because those are not accessible to them still at 14, 11, they're short. So we still have it down there, that's where it stayed. And then I realized that huge milk container was too much for him to get out of the fridge and, you know, and it's like, you know, so to set him up for success, because he's a clean kid and he likes to keep things clean and he would be devastated if he spilled a gallon of milk all over the place, I went and bought him his very own little milk container that's small that I would have to consciously keep focusing on and refilling for him, but he had that full control for himself. And we've done this with other students too. I had a middle school student who had limited mobility, autism also, and she had her own little tray in the fridge and it had her name on it, and then those were the items that she could pull that tray out and then she could get her own little meal by using that tray that had everything that was set up for her functioning mobility that she had. So here, my daughter at a very young age learned, both of them did, to make pancakes, which is like, this is where you're the fire! But I taught it at a super young age so that they're really good with it now. They use the back burners, and you know, sometimes we have to let go of all those little fears, still be safe, but, and she just had, there were 4 of them, and they were on their own. One girl's older in high school, but they spent the night together all on their own, and she made everybody scrambled eggs and pancakes the next morning and served everyone this beautiful meal. And I got home, the house was cleaner than it was when I left, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself that I taught all that stuff at a young age so that now my job is easier. Just keep that end in mind, make your job easier. But I had to have the step stool. She doesn't need the step stool anymore, but she had the step stool, everything set up for her. And everything's non-breakable, and just really think about how to set them up for success and set it up so that you're not frustrated and you're not feeling like you have an unsuccessful mess. So there you have your skills inventory. identify what's not working. Because what we do as parents, we get caught up, you know, in the moment. You're like, oh my gosh, again, every single day, this is like this, and then we move on. Oh, and you totally forget what just happened until tomorrow. And then you get same thing, and then ding, oh, my phone. And you check that message and you totally forget. Or you have to rush them off to school and you totally forget until the next morning. How many of you do that? Where you do the same thing every day and it's not working for anyone because we're getting frustrated, the kids are feeling unsuccessful, it's not working for everyone, but you just keep doing it every day. And that's part of that conscious parenting. If you pull yourself out of the moment and you just take this time, you can just sit here after this training's over, just sit here for 10 minutes without distractions, in peace and quiet. We will all just like quietly leave and let you sit in your peace. And you really think, okay, what's not working? And I guarantee you, it's gonna come to you and write it down. And then come up with a plan. Because it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to live your life just surviving, but you have to be conscious about the plan and the action. You can get your whole family to be in a place where you are thriving and you are happier and your kids are learning skills and you are all blossoming and blooming. And it's good for everyone, but it takes you just taking yourself out of your daily grind and really sitting and thinking deeply about what's not working for your family. We all get there, and we're going to talk about the whole season thing. So making a plan, and here it is, know your child's learning seasons. As parents, we get so hard on ourselves when we're all pumped up and excited and we've got a plan, we're going to do this. But does our plan always match up with what our kids are ready for? It doesn't always work out sometimes. And we can't get down on ourselves and say, oh, I was trying to teach them to make the bed, and it was the morning, and it didn't work out, and I'm done. I can't, and you forget about it tomorrow. Okay? Think about this. Really step back and say, okay, what went wrong? How can I make it better for next time? Is your child a morning person? Because do we expect beds to be made in the morning? Yeah. Usually, right? So maybe your child's just totally not a morning person. Maybe they need an extra 5 minutes to wake up, and maybe they need to do something first before, maybe they need to eat breakfast before they make the bed. Those things are okay. You can think out of the box for things. I had the kids that every morning they come to, we're barefoot people, we love to be barefoot. We go barefoot to the neighbors, we're always barefoot because that's how I grew up. So I guess they learned from watching me. But they come downstairs every morning barefoot and their socks were neatly in their drawers upstairs. And so we're at the point every day where we're rushing, we gotta get out of the house. And I'd be like, oh, socks, go get your socks. Okay, wow. To get from A, downstairs, to B, upstairs, in their drawer, to get their socks, and then get down in a timely manner, and I was caught where it was every day. I'm getting on to them. Go get your socks. We're late. Go get your socks. Go get your socks. Until I did that, where I sat down, I said, what's not working? I'm like, the sock thing is driving me crazy. I'm in a bad mood when I leave every morning because why? Why am I in such a bad mood? And then you go click, 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 and you back it up, and it always came down to the socks because they had to go back upstairs to get their socks and then come downstairs, and they weren't getting from A to B fast enough. So I said, let me think out of the box with the socks. What am I gonna do? So I found a place downstairs where they keep their socks. And guess what? The three of us keep our socks downstairs now because I didn't have my socks there. Now I have my socks there too. It's a little cabinet and it's neatly tucked away, and everybody has their own little basket for their socks. And it's worked brilliantly. I love it. And to this day, I did that when they were in preschool, and to this day, they still have their socks there. And probably when they're adults, they're not gonna have their socks in their sock and underwear drawer. They're gonna have their socks right by the front door, just like we do. So really get creative and know your kids, know what's going on. So are your kids old enough to do the thing? Are they the things that you're expecting? Like I said, in looking at that list, it's kind of like a when you realize that list is for 3 to 5-year-olds. So are they developmentally ready, chronologically ready? Maturity-wise, are they ready? If you keep hitting a wall with something, no matter how consciously you're teaching the skill, then step back, be creative about it, or think, okay, we're gonna tackle that one in a few months. Okay, because you do still have this. If you can't teach it here, you still have a few more squares where you can teach it within, but just make sure you're doing it within, okay? Don't get down on yourselves if your child is not ready. So, and then for the seasons, I have a child who's not a morning person. I am a morning person. Raise your hand if you're a morning person. My friends, right? And this is the morning. I'm like, I will admit, I do have about 2 cups of coffee to get to this point. But even before my first cup of coffee, I'm just like, woo, ready for the day. I'm a morning person. And my son is too. Like, he pops out of bed, he gets all dressed, and he's ready to go. So we're good in the morning. We spend our mornings together. My daughter, whoa. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, some like underdeep beast comes in the night and puts himself in her brain. So when she wakes up, you want to be really careful about what your expectations are for the first 20 minutes that she opens her eyes. And I had to learn that, because I would walk in, good morning, sunshine. Okay, let's go, make your bed, let's do this, go downstairs, woohoo. And she's just like, so I had to kind of back up and say, so morning times are not her season. But what do you think her season is? Night. She's a night owl. So at nighttime, we get a lot done with her. So you're gonna think about that. What's my child's season? Is it morning or night? So, but we also have seasons during the year. Some of us like colder weather. Some of us like warmer weather. Some of us don't like too hot. Some of us love the heat. So you're gonna think about that too. I mean, how many of you have thought about that before? Yes. Okay, so Kristen, what's my season?
Springtime, baby.
So I come up with all these amazing ideas and things that I can't wait to develop, and new programs to teach, and they keep saying over and over, is it spring? Must be spring, or uh-oh, here comes spring. Because then in the winter, I hibernate, big time. I hibernate. I do not like this cold. I like the buds blossoming, and it's like new life, new ideas. Let's do this. So I know for me, during the winter seasons, my kids are not going to learn a lot of new skills. And I'm probably not going to follow through on the things that I will follow through on in the spring. And I know sooner or later my kids are going to catch on pretty quick to what my teammates have already caught on to, and they're going to be like, oh great, Mom, must be spring. They haven't caught on yet, but they will. So, you know, I know that that's my season, so I'm not going to get hard on myself that my laundry is overflowing right now. I have 2 big baskets that really need to be folded that I'm just not motivated to do during the week when it's 30 degrees outside. I'm just not into it. But let me tell you, Saturday, it's supposed to be almost 70. I'm going to get so much done. So I'm not hard. We are so hard on ourselves as moms. Let it go. Don't be hard on yourself. My kids are going to learn so much on Saturday. They really are. They're in for it. But they don't care because Mom's in a good mood. So they're going to learn when you're in a good mood. So you've really got to think about that. The seasons. Seasons are so important. Okay, I just took a whole another 20 minutes on seasons. So your plan consists of 3 skills you'd like to develop, but depending on your season, you might keep it to 1, or, you know, I wouldn't do more than 3 skills that you're working on at a time. And you need reinforcers too for yourselves. So if you're keeping that skills inventory list, if that works for you, Keep it, have it on your fridge. When your child learns that new skill, put the date that they learned it and put a smiley face next to it. And, you know, stop at Starbucks. Do something for yourself. That's a huge thing. I have a little journal. It's our Kugler journal. I put everything out, like our New Year's goals and little things that go on. And I have lists in there for both my kids of what they know how to do. And I just love it. Like, it excites me so much when my kids learn a new skill and I write it in there. We've got to reinforce ourselves. So, I mean, I have silly things in there. Blow a bubble. You know, when my daughter first learned to blow a bubble, we celebrated. That's a huge skill. How fun is that? And I wrote it in a little book. You know, so from things like that to making pancakes for everyone, write it in the book. My son, he walked in one day and he walks past me in the kitchen and my husband goes, "Did you get that taken care of?" And he goes, "Yep." And I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" He goes, "Oh, he just changed the light in your tail light." I'm like, I didn't even know you could do that. I thought you have to take it to the shop. I taught my son how to do it, he did it by himself. I'm like, wow, that's going in the book. So keep track of all those cool things. I don't know if I have a slide for it, but I want to say, you guys don't know everything, but you know other people that know things you don't know, so farm your kids out. If grandma is really good at doing something that you're not, say, "Hey Mom, could you teach her how to do this? Because I really hate doing it." I'm not a baker. I do not like baking. Do not like it. My daughter loves it. And I'm like, let's go outside and do something really cool. No, she likes to be in the kitchen and bake. So when we visit my mom for long periods of time in the summer, that's when she gets all her baking time. And she bakes stuff. Whenever we have to go somewhere and somebody says, "Could you bring a dessert?" I'm like, "Amelia?" And she's happy to do it. She loves it, and she learned to do it from my mother. So maybe there's an uncle that's really good at something that your kid's interested in and you're not. Put it on the uncle to teach them to do it. People love that, and it makes them feel so good, and then that's a bonding thing for them. Or there's a neighbor, like we had a neighbor who was great at playing with the kids in the street. So I'd be like, "Oh, go ahead, you got them, all yours." And then I would get dinner done or do something else. So make sure you're utilizing the people around you, because you guys aren't going to be able to teach every little thing, but there's maybe a sibling can teach them. Oh my gosh, my daughter, I know nothing about math, and she helps my son with his math all the time. She's really good at it. That's her specialty. It's making her feel good. It's bonding them, and he then owes her something, which makes her really happy. So, you know, have at it. Sometimes it's not her season, she's not in the mood, and I'll send him to his father, but use those people that you can to share those skills that they have, because we don't have all the skills. Okay, that was a big tangent. And we can have goals. You know, some of us have our kids have goals in school. Make sure you have home goals. Oh my gosh, and they can connect to the school goals. So here's an example. Molly will clear the table after dinner every night. She will then get to read a book with a parent for 10 minutes. And make those goals with your kids, even if they're not really aware of what you're doing. Make it and say it out loud. Make it with the family. Give each family member, have a family meeting, give each family member a goal of a new skill that they're going to learn, and figure out who's going to teach it, when they're going to learn it, and if something comes up that they won't learn it when you say they're going to learn it, don't drop it completely. Pick another day. It's okay. Real life is that we're busy and things are going to happen, but it's not the end of the world, because you still have a few more days to get it in. So don't give it up completely. Okay, teaching the skill. And there's a little basket. There it is. So we still have it. So prepare the environment. We talked about that already, about making sure you set things up so your child can be successful. And then be positive and have fun. This is so important. Do not go into this dreading it. It's not your season. Don't do it. This should not be a dread thing. This should be a happy, fun, bonding thing. So make sure you're there. So you can do modeling. There's tons of videos on everything, I'm telling you, I've looked it up. So if you want to teach your child to do something in the home, like making a bed, I guarantee you there's a video of a kid making his bed. Just play it. Fun. Kids love videos. YouTube is everything, right? Do it, preview, of course, because you never know what kind of bed is being made. So preview it and then show your child the video of it happening. And you know what? My kids see my husband. If he has to fix something, he goes to YouTube every time. We did learn the hard way that you have to turn the sound off sometimes because my husband was watching a video on how to restart an iPad a few years back, and there was a teenager teaching us how to do it, and he loved the F word. I was like, click. So make sure you preview, but use videos. That's using your resources, using other people. We use Alexa all the time for everything. We ask Alexa lots of questions. So use those videos, use those other people, use peers, use siblings. That's like such a gift if you can get a sibling to teach a sibling how to do something. And break down the skills if needed. So, if there's a big task like, I'm teaching you to clean your room. That's like huge. Think about what that's involved. Don't like overload them with just go clean your room. Wow, think about all the little things that are involved in cleaning a room. So you're just gonna start with one thing. Teach them how to dust their furniture first and make it something that's gonna be fun. And that's the first step. So then you say, dust the furniture. He knows how to do it, yes. Okay, the next thing is going to be to shake out his area rug. Teach him how to do that. Next thing is gonna be dust the floorboards or make the bed, or pick the clothes off the floor and put them on hangers. Like, we're talking, you gotta break everything down. Don't have this expectation to just go clean your room. And how many parents say that to their older kids or even younger kids? Go clean your room. I told you to clean your room. That's one of those things that parents freak out about, and a kid's like, what? I don't even know what that means. Where would I start? It's overwhelming. One strategy I saw was the room that's like crazy a mess. You just take a hula hoop and throw it in the middle of the floor, and you tell them, just clean up what's in that little hula hoop space. Like, that's something with boundaries and limits, and like, it doesn't seem like the end of the world, and they can handle like a little thing like that. And then once it's all cleared out, then you take the hula hoop and you move it, and you just take those baby steps to get them to break things down so that it's not so overwhelming. So break skills down. Backwards chaining. Backwards chaining is a great way to teach different skills. I'll use the example of tying shoes. So how many of you, can you remember learning to tie your shoes at all? Anyone? Teaching children, how many of you tried to teach your child to tie shoes yet? Okay, so my son, I started teaching him, and at the very first part of putting the strings, trying to do the very first tie, he couldn't get it and he would melt down. He felt like such a loser. And then it would take me 10 minutes to get him over the tantrum, and I'm like, oh God, this is gonna take forever. Because I did like 3 times of that and the same response, the total meltdown, because he was so frustrated because it just seemed like it was gonna be way too hard. So I'm like, I'm gonna do backwards chaining. That's how I'm gonna teach him. So I tied the whole first part. I did the whole first part, and all he had to do was pull those 2 little bunny ears tight. And I let him do that, and I went, you did it! You tied your shoes, woohoo! And he was like, huh? Awesome, that was easy. And then the next day, he was so excited about it, his mood totally changed. It was like this really cool thing that Mom got so happy about, and I got so happy about, and I felt so proud. So then the next day I went back and I taught him the step before that, and then he got to tie the bunny ears, and we celebrate, and then each day we tip 1 step back. And it hardly took any time at all. Like, he loved it, and he was so proud of himself. So think about how you can start at the end. So putting on a shirt, instead of like putting that, and then getting that, you just put it over the top of our head. Their arms are already in, you've done it, and all they have to do is go, boom. You did it, you put on your shirt. And then the next day, you bring it back a step, and you just keep bringing it back. I mean, you change that attitude, you've changed everything. That's when you can go from being a failure to being successful, by just changing the attitude within it and making them feel it, feel the success. Use visuals. We have tons of visuals. Here's one for shaving legs. There's a visual for that. We have visuals for tons of things. Brushing teeth. Here's a cleaning my bedroom. Break it down into the steps, and then they can use the wipe-off marker to check as they do each thing. For younger kids, I would keep it much more simple. That's way too much. Here's a great visual that I love. Have these around the table so they know where everything goes. If you can't just say set the table. Who knows what you'll get. So how fun is this? That's where the plate goes, and they learn the words and the spelling, and it's so fun, and everybody gets their own. You can put their names on it. That's great. Yeah, visuals are very, very good to use for all kids, even as they get older. These are our morning procedures that my preteen and teenager uses now. Get up. Okay, that's a hard part for my daughter. Just get up. That's all you have to do. You did it! You got up! Woohoo! No, I can't be like that. Get dressed, make your bed, tidy room, do hair and put on socks, downstairs. Make a healthy breakfast and eat, pack a healthy lunch, pack backpack, make sure you have your binder, your water, your attendance tracker, your phone, your snack, brush your teeth, free time, leave at 7:30. I've laid it out to them. Here's one for grooming. Do you have a clean face? Is your hair washed? Are your teeth brushed? Do you have clean nails, trim nails, clean clothes? Are your clothes on correctly? This is needed, let me tell you. My son, he comes downstairs and we're like, back up, fix it. Like, colors are terrible, your pants are on backwards, you know, we're his little fashionistas. Let's see, here's another simpler hygiene chart. Brush teeth, wash face, put on clean clothes, brush, comb hair, take a bath, shower, put on deodorant, brush teeth. Please, beg you, please, when your kids get stinky, teach them to put on deodorant. We go into middle schools and high schools and it smells really bad. And how many kids do we have now that have sensory issues? And smells affect them badly. They affect their moods. I had a student who was failing math, and it was because the kid next to him had PE before math class, and it wasn't until we tried repositioning him in the class to where he was on the other side of the room, and he was still not good enough. They had to change his schedule. So please teach your kids to wear deodorant. It will help so many people and you won't even know about it. Okay, getting dressed. Here's a nice simple one. Put on your underwear, hopefully. Put on socks, put on a t-shirt, put on shorts or pants, and then put on shoes. And you know, weather specific, you might have to circle which one they're putting on that day, because we have our kids that want to wear shorts when it's 20 degrees. Okay, so visuals are great, and you can use visuals at every age. This visual I made for my daughter when she was in preschool, and we still use it. It's still the exact same thing, and I still pull it out sometimes because she still forgets. So shoes in the basket, because we have a basket for shoes. Empty your lunch bag so that those leftover sandwich pieces aren't stinky on Monday when they've been stuck in her backpack all weekend, or sometimes over Christmas break. Yep, been there. Hang up backpack. I have a special hook for each of them where they have to hang it up so I'm not tripping over it. And do I still trip over it once in a while? Yes. Do I need to keep on it and keep consistent and keep reminding? Yes. Am I always good at it? No. Right now, winter, I'm not so good at it. She left it somewhere else in the house yesterday. But in the spring, watch out. That backpack's gonna be on the hook every day. And then binder on table and do your homework. So it's still 14, still the same. They don't always stay the same. So you have to change things up, but I'm lucky enough that I don't have to change that one up. And she thinks it's kind of cute that the pictures of her when she was in preschool.
She still think it's cute.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so teach the skills needed. We kind of went through all that. Closely monitor, make sure you're reinforcing. That's something we definitely forget. And you might need a visual on your refrigerator, and I would do this. Every parent should have a visual on their refrigerator and then move it every once in a while that says, you know, reinforce. Or just celebrate, or a key word for yourself. Because we get so caught up and, you know, you get caught in that picking on things they're doing wrong. I had my daughter once say, "Mommy, can you just sit with me and talk to me, but don't tell me anything that I'm doing wrong?" And I was like, oh, do I do that a lot? We all do it. So I made sure that I was consciously talking to her, telling her things I was proud of about her. That does so much more. The studies show that you get so much farther when you work off of strengths, when you focus on their strengths, when you work on things that they're good at, because it gains their self-confidence and gains their self-esteem, and then they're better at tackling the things that they're not so great at once they feel really good at the things they are good at. So make sure you're reinforcing when they're doing the things. And you know, you want to be real when you're reinforcing. Don't go, "Good job! I love the way you walked from there to here. I'm so proud of you." Kids know when we're fake. They have our numbers inside and out. So do not be fake. Do not reinforce fakely. Before you reinforce, say, "Is this what I feel truly in my heart?" And if I don't, let me dig in there and find something I do feel truly. Some people are like, "I can't find anything to reinforce." There's always something. And just start with that one little thing, and then you'll have so much more to pull out. But be real. Make it real, or else it's for nothing. And it's fake, and you're gonna be backed up big time if you're giving out fake stuff. And then you want to decrease it. You know, you don't want to reinforce every single time they brush their teeth. You know, reinforce it at first, and then when it becomes a habit after that 20 some odd times, then, you know, you can definitely pull back as quick as possible. They should be just reinforced by going ding in the mirror. You know, let them reinforce themselves, and hopefully peers will reinforce and other people. And you could whisper a little bit to the neighbor or the parent that's visiting or, you know, nearby and say, "Hey, so he's been working really hard on tying shoes. Can you just say something about his shoes, and, you know, can you reinforce this or that?" Tell other people to reinforce, so it's not just coming from you, because, you know, it gets old coming from us. So make sure you tell other people to reinforce. I have to tell my husband a lot, like, you know, he's not a natural reinforcer, and most people aren't. So I'll have to say, "Hey, she was working really hard on that. Can you just say something about it?" And he does, and oh, yeah, a girl with her daddy, they need to hear it from him too. So make sure you've got other people reinforcing as well. But honest, from the heart reinforcing will work miracles. And you might have to reassess what you're doing. You might have to go back to the drawing board and teach it a different way, or do another, not have the duvet cover, maybe just a blanket that goes over. You know, you have to like really think what's working, what's not. We can start over, and that's okay. It's okay to do it that way. And then be creative. Like I said, think out of the box, or the dustpan, or the bucket. You know, we don't have to do everything the way that we grew up doing it. And we want to teach our kids to be creative and to think of unique ideas that work for them. So really reinforce that when your kids do something a little different. It's okay to do things different. And we want them to grow up to be independent thinkers, where they're learning to do things the way that works for them. And learn from others. Pinterest. Hello. Oh my gosh, the mother lode of ideas. If you want to just type in "make a bed," teaching kids to make beds, you will probably get a gazillion ideas. Or ask your friend. Learn from friends. I have a friend who has 4 kids, and I visit in the summer. I travel a lot, and I visit with my friends, and we spend time with them, and I'm consciously going to myself, I'm going to learn from my friends, because I love to learn new strategies for parenting. So at her house, they did this thing where when Daddy comes home from Costco, they go, "All hands on deck," and kids come out of the woodwork. Like, they all come running, And it was the coolest thing. They just started this big team effort of unloading that car, and everybody knew where everything went, and everything went in its place. And I just stood back, like I was helping too, but I was just like watching as I'm helping, because you can't not help with that. It's so exciting and fun. And I mean, it's not like they were laughing hysterically. They were just in it. They were in it to get it done. So I went back home and we started all hands on deck, and it took a little while. My parents were like, what? This isn't a ship. What are you talking about, all hands on deck? It took some motivating, but now it's the point where, yeah, I get all this help unloading my car, and it's awesome. So learn from your friends, learn from neighbors, learn from other moms, ask for ideas, read books on how to do things, and then it makes it a lot more fun for you. And then you get to go back to that friend and say, you know what, you're such a great mom. Thank you, because you helped my family. And how good does that make her feel? Is she gonna yell all hands on deck with extra oomph the next time because she knows that somebody else learned that from her? Oh my gosh, we have to give that gift to each other as moms. We have got to reinforce each other and really value what each other knows. So make sure you're doing that. Okay, some other ideas. Cleanup fairy. So we started this because my daughter loves candy. So if she would clean her room, the cleanup fairy would come and leave 3 jelly beans. Woo! That was awesome. You know, her room was so clean, but I taught her exactly what she had to do to make it look clean enough for the cleanup fairy, because the cleanup fairy has, you know, specific things she's going to look for when she comes in. Also, one thing with my daughter, she loves if we have people over, if there's other people coming over, her room would be immaculate. And I heard another friend of mine say, oh my gosh, wait, before you guys came over, my son cleaned his room like it's never been cleaned before. So that kind of made me think like, we're gonna have people over more, at least once a month, and get those rooms really, really clean. You know, whatever it takes. Somebody's coming over, get your room clean. Then I'm doing it in a positive, fun way, and it's really clean, and it lasts like for a long time like that. Well, at least a day or two, right? So think about what motivates your kids. What's important to them? Is it not so much you telling them, or is it a peer that might see their room? Like, so-and-so's coming over for a play date tomorrow, you better clean that room. A jar of smile activities, where you have a jar, and instead of calling them chores, you can call them smile activities or smile tasks, so that it doesn't sound like chore. You know, even when you say it, it's like inside. So change the name. Why do we have to call it a chore? You can call it whatever you want. It's your family. You do what you want. So make it a fun name. So they pick out of a jar, and it tells them something they're going to do. And you put on the music, and everybody spends 10 minutes doing whatever they pull out of the jar. So make it like a family activity where everybody's chipping in. Or roll the dice, and the dice, whatever you roll, and you can change up the dice so that, you know, or 1 equals dust the tabletops, 2 equals empty the garbages, 3 equals gather all the laundry. 5-minute cleanup, you just set it on your phone. Okay, 5 minutes, we're gonna clean up as much as we can. And then everybody scatters and play some music and make it really fun, and see how much everybody, like, go inspect the house after the 5 minutes. Like, wow, it looks great. Because really, 5 minutes, everybody in your house, if they put 5 minutes into it, it works miracles. 5 minutes. It's like a long time, and a lot gets picked up, and you feel so much better, and you don't have to do it while you're really exhausted after the kids finally go to bed, if they go to bed. And the same thing with racing against the timer. I still use that all the time with my kids. I love the timer, and I love Alexa. She's like such a dear friend. And so I'll say, let's see, you can take your showers, brush your teeth, and be in bed in 10 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes. And it's like, and they're gone. And it's all done. And I've just gained, you know, because what does it typically take to do all that? Drags on. It's like an hour. So, you know, use those make it a fun game, but know your kids. If they're not night kids or if they have really terrible sibling rivalry with which sometimes my kids do, and I know which days to do the race, and I know, but they're racing against Alexa, they're not racing against each other. And I did make the mistake of having them race against each other, and I will never do that again. That is a nightmare. So, you know, really know, and you're gonna try stuff that's gonna flop big time. And when they're in the middle of the meltdown, you're just like, okay, I'm still a good mom. I'm going to do better next time. I'm just gonna remember that. We're not doing that one again. We're gonna try a different one, because there's so many things to try. Dust puppets, dance and clean party, everybody dances, whistle while you work, pick up puppet, have a special apron that they make with you that has all the little things in their apron. You know, that could be fun, depending on what they like. Superpowers. Oof, you have superpowers. You are now the master duster of the house. Let's see what you can do. Be goofy. Kids love goofy. And when mom isn't typically goofy and she all of a sudden turns goofy, they're going to be dusting the heck out of that place. So try it. See if it works. Egg jobs. Have an egg hunt in December or in January, where when they go and they find an egg and they open it up and it has a smile activity in it of something that they could do around the house. It might make them dread Easter, but maybe not. Okay, or have popsicle sticks in a jar where they pull it out and then it has something they can do on it. I did this secret assignment on an iPad for my kids, and it was something about aliens coming, and in order to save the house, they were gonna have to clean the windows. And I tried to get, what was it? I tried to get my son, I thought my son would do it because it was the morning when I was doing it. I'm like, there's no way my daughter's gonna do this. And my son loves superheroes and aliens and all that stuff. So I did it for him. And it was the funniest thing because he just sat there like, whatever. And he was probably like 4 years old, and he's like, I'm good. My daughter thought that was the coolest thing ever. Every window in that house was sparkling. She went and did it so fast. So you just never know. Just try it and see what happens. And it was the morning. She doesn't like mornings, but she did it. Okay, let me go through some other things. Shopping. How many of you take your kids shopping? Yay! How many kids, parents absolutely dread it? Yeah. Oh, you are not alone. Because I can't tell you how many, every time I go in the store, every time, there's some child screaming and melting down. And here's what the task that I give you guys. If you are in a store and there's a child screaming and yelling and having a nightmare meltdown, I want you to say to yourself, that mom took that kid out, yay her. And then I want you to go over and hug her and say, yay you. Keep it up, mom. It's going to be okay.
And it's
Keep doing it.
It's going to pass because I remember when I started over here, I can't even Target uptown, and I said no. And I like to go Target, and I like to go Michael's runs, and I said no, I'm going to keep it up. And for this day, I can go shopping with him. He's 5 years old.
Yes. Yay! If any time you say I can't, then that's exactly what you should be writing down on your list that you need to work on. And I've been there. We've all been there. I was at Target, and out of the blue, my very even keel, kind-natured, just never, not typically melting down kid decided he wanted chocolate milk out of nowhere and had one of probably the worst meltdowns he's ever had in the middle of Target. And I was completely thrown off, like, what on earth? And I just quickly, I had a basket of stuff, and I just quickly went, ditched the basket, grabbed him. I had to force him into the car seat. He was livid that I did not buy that chocolate milk for him. Whoa, are you kidding me? So what did I do the next day? Did I lay in a ball, curled up, sucking my thumb, crying? And stay far away from Target? We were going to Target! And guess what else we were doing? We were walking past the chocolate milk. So, but what I did, I set it all up before we went. I said, we're going to Target today. And we have target rules now. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what the target rules are. And these target rules lasted for about 2 years, where every time as I'm pushing that Target cart into Target with my 2 toddlers in the cart, I would say, what are the Target rules? And then I'd say, do we scream in Target? And they go, no. Do we cry in Target? No. Do we ask for things in Target? No. But when we're leaving Target, you get a treat. I'm good with that. And if you're gonna have a meltdown in the checkout lane, we're gonna be visiting that checkout lane tons and tons, and you're not getting a treat there. You'll get a treat when we get in the car. And it'll be in the glove compartment. If it's chocolate, it's melted, too bad. No, I'm just kidding. So you know, you gotta hit that one right away. You gotta get on it if there's a problem. If there's some time that's a problem spot. And it's so funny because we did the Target rules every time after that. And I've totally forgot about it because they were fine after that. Totally forgot about it. Like a year had passed, and then we pulled up in Target, and I heard my son in the back seat going, "What are the Target rules?" I was like, "Oh, how cool! We haven't had to say that in forever. You guys are still following through. I'm so proud of you." So you know, we celebrated that moment. That I forgot. How many of us forget when things are going good? We forget, and thank goodness we have them to remind us, right? So that's the thing, and I want you to make sure that you reinforce other moms, you support other moms, because hey, that mom's in Target, that kid's screaming, and 9 times out of 10, when I hug a mom with a screaming kid, she starts crying, because she's so grateful, because they got way too many glares and stares and judgments. We can't judge. We've got to support as much as we can, because we are all there at some point. Even though if things are going great, you just always remember where you were at some point, so reinforce. But here's a great little thing. Make sure your kids are going with you to the store. Make sure they grow up as adults that know how to shop. Here's a cute little thing, and this is that girl that I was telling you about who had the low mobility, and she had the little tray in the fridge. So they brought this to the store with them, and then they would go through the store, and here's each item that they were going to get. You do not need to make something fancy like this. You could just cut things out of the flyer and put it in there, or even write it out and have your child hold it. You know, just come up with little rules for each place, or you could keep it simple. Maybe you're just going to go to the store to get 1 apple. That's okay. You get 1 apple and you walk out, and your child is reinforced after it. Make a point. Do not go places unconsciously, right? Like, no, don't go places without thinking, we're going here. I only have this amount of time. So I've got to teach my kids how to shop, and I'm going to do it today. Always think about teaching your kid the skills that they need. So you're going to teach them how to weigh those items. You're going to teach them how to count out how many pairs. You're going to teach them to eat healthy, because you want them to be adults that are going to eat healthy on the job and be able to make it through the day. We have adults that are bringing bags of chips and sodas, and then they're tanking at the end of the day. Make sure you teach them everything you can now, right now, because it's really not a lot of time. And give it your all, consciously. Put the phones away and consciously teach it now. Because you will be celebrating later, and your kids will be celebrating with you. And you can come up with creative things for any level, and if you need ideas, you can come to us on Fridays, and we will help you out, because it's one of our passions, and we would love, love, love to make it exciting and fun and successful for you guys. So, thank you. You guys have a really good day. Yes, any questions?